Line. Brought to you by Remington Rand, makers of the revolutionary new Remington Rolectric, the only shaver that shaves both the heavy beard and the hidden beard in absolute comfort. Now let's all play What's My Line?
And now let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the delightful star of stage and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now the author, actor who is starring magnificently in his own play Romanoff and Juliet, Mr. Peter Ustinov.
And now, the winner of the Newspaper Women's Award for the Best News Story of the Year in covering the visit of our Queen to America, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, our panelist who almost didn't come back from Texas and Louisiana. He was having such a wonderful time, but we're glad he's back, Mr. Bennett Cerf.
To all the people in Texas and New Orleans who asked about Arlene's eye, that patch is coming off Tuesday.
Hooray!
And also, Dorothy is prettier than ever. And here's our panel moderator and newscaster, that master of the limpid, lucid literary style, John Charles Daly.
What Bennett means is I like short sentences. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line. Once again, we have some very nice people who've been kind enough to bring some interesting occupations. In fact, they're so interesting tonight, I'm going to give the panel a nice running start. Put on your blindfolds, please. And we'll also have a famous mystery guest before the panel. A little bit later in the show, we'll meet our first challenger in just 1 minute. It's time to meet our first contestant. Are those blindfolds in place, panel?
Yes.
Good. Will our first contestant come in and sign in, please? Amplitude Stranis. And Pranatuda Prunus. Yes, that's very good. And now will you come over here and join me? And now, panel, as you know, you're blindfolded because there's an area of identification having to do with costuming, handwriting, or perhaps one of you on the panel may, in our estimation, have some previous acquaintance which would give you too much of a clue, so you're blindfolded. I would ask our guest, are you familiar with our scoring system?
Yes.
In that event, let's let everybody at home and our friends here in the theater know exactly what your line is. Panel, our guest, and I think it's only fair to tell you that it's a dual bill. Our guest is self-employed, and we'll begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
A dual bill, do you mean there's more than one person?
That's right, yes.
Are they of a variety of sexes?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Does the dual bill consist of 2 people?
Yes.
Are the 2 people both females? Yes. Do the 2 of you, are you usually associated together in the public mind?
Yes.
Is this because of the fact that you make public appearances together?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
Has your name or have your names appeared recently in the newspapers?
Yes.
Are you in any way associated with any of the lively arts?
No.
Small conference.
7, yes.
Arts but not lively? Somewhat, was that the answer?
Well, actually, the answer would be just yes, Miss Arlene.
Yes. Is there anything entertaining about what you do?
Certainly.
Oh. But you are not performers. Is that what Bennett
That's what I gotta know.
discovered? Do you appear behind the scenes in some capacity?
Well, yes.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, I would say that since we have already accepted that there is not a performing before the public, we would have to agree that the relationship to the whole broad area of entertainment has to do with a behind-the-scenes functioning, you see.
Jolly good, John. Do you perhaps write for the theater or television?
No.
That makes it 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Ustinov.
I hope you won't take this amiss, but I'm right in assuming that you're both human beings.
Yes.
Yes. And am I right in assuming that both of you have been answering these questions?
Yes.
Those are two distinct voices that I hear.
Yes.
I thought they were both machines, but I mean, no, I didn't. I was wondering whether, and you work together?
Yes.
Inseparably?
No.
I couldn't hear the last one.
No, that was a no, but I won't give you an official no on that because inseparably suggests that there is a closer relationship overall than exists, but for the purposes of the occupation which we're here working on, I would say that there is a certain degree of inseparability. However, it is not complete.
That's like a statement from a government.
That's the nicest thing that's ever been said to me, Peter. Thank you.
Not really.
Peter, that's one of his clearest statements. More limpid than most.
Well, what have I been left with a no or a yes?
You've got a yes.
Oh, I've got a yes.
You've got a qualified yes,
Oh,
no.
Well, that's not like a government, no. And it's to do with backstage activities of some sort.
Well, not necessarily backstage, behind the
Behind
scenes,
the
I
scenes.
believe was the phrase. Yeah.
Behind the scenes. Does it have any... am I right in assuming that it has other functions but theatrical or entertainment ones? Could this be pressed into the service of another organization?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Is it anything to do with publicity?
No.
4 down
No.
and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Now, we have learned that you're connected with a lively art, but we haven't decided which one. Are you something other than painters?
Yes.
Have you something to do with other than the ballet?
Yes.
Other than sculpture?
Yes.
Oh, the arts are going.
Do you have anything to do with music?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Have you, either of you, ever worked on a book?
Yes.
Have you possibly collaborated on a book? Yes. Is one of you creatures married to me? This is a dirty trick. Phyllis and Edith Young. Is that right?
That's right. Actually, to take care of the official part of What's My Line, Mrs. Cerf and Mrs. Young are co-authors of a book, The Complete Family Fun Book, which is published by, guess what? Random House. Bennett, I want to tell you, we didn't think we could get away with this, but we thought we'd take a shot at it anyway, and we did pretty well. We got 5 down and 5
John,
to
I'd
go
like to
before
make
you
a
caught
shameful
on.
confession. The voice I recognized was not Phyllis's, but Edith Young.
Oh, wunderbar. Miss Phyllis, we had fun, and we nearly carved them up into little pieces. Miss Young, nice to have you with us. Thank you. Well, that was good fun, panel, and I must compliment you. We didn't get away with it, but perhaps we can get away with this. Will our next challenger come in and sign in, please? Pat Lockwood, Michael Falcone, Richard Rigsby, and Theodore Kratzky. That right? All right, panel, in the interest of saving time, I will tell you that Mrs. Pat Lockwood is from New York City, Michael Falcone is from New York City, Richard Rigsby is from Miami, Florida, and Theodore Kratzky is from Roslyn, Pennsylvania. You all know how we keep score on this program?
Yes, we do.
Fine, then let's let the people at home and those who've been good enough to come and join us in the theater know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, I will tell you that our guests are salaried, and we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Yeah, are you going to answer, Mrs. Lockwood, since you're right there? Shall I address the questions
Some of them.
to you?
All right. Yes.
Do you four have anything to do with the entertainment industry at all?
No.
No, not so. That's 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Ustinov.
Do you do a job which is interlocking in some way, or do you all do the same thing? I mean,
That
now I
can't be
can't ask a
answered yes
question,
or no.
can I? I'm right in assuming that you do a job which is accomplished because the four of you do it,
Together?
rather than all doing the same thing.
That's fine. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
In other words, they all do the same thing, is that?
They all do the
all
same
do the
thing.
same thing. If you're not in the entertainment field, may I rule out my question that I seem to be hipped on tonight? You are not the 4 ding-dongs or anything that make records. No.
Yes, they are not the 4 ding-dongs.
Well,
No.
you know, do you deal with people rather than animals in your work?
Yes.
Men and women could avail themselves of your services? Are people better off or happier because of what you do?
Yes.
Could I use your service?
Yes.
Could anyone on this panel?
Yes.
Do you think it would be more applicable to one of us than to all of us?
No. 3 down and 3 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Lockwood, have the four of you got anything to do, whatever, with the appliance of justice or the law?
You mean having some relationship to the
that's going to be a
function-
no, John.
That's right. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you do something that is helpful for the individual?
We, I think, can assume that the identification which they bear collectively and individually is one which, as applied to the norm of human behavior and experience, produces a sense of well-being, betterment, yes.
I've had 2 of those tonight, John. Only 1 more.
It's all right, Miss Hathaway, you go right on.
Do you touch the people that you deal with?
Yes.
Sometimes.
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 By that, I presume it is not necessary in your job, then, to touch them, if you say something. It's not necessary. Do you talk to them?
Yes.
Do you advise them in any way or instruct them in any way?
Sometimes, yes.
Do you work for a non-profit making organization?
No.
No. That makes it 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Ustinov.
Would this service be considered a luxury at all?
I would
In
think that every tradition of
Oh, my goodness.
our times would say it was not a luxury. I would think, even though there might be room for an argument on a technical basis, that we would agree it was very necessary to life. That makes it 6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
One of the gentlemen, whose name escapes me, but the one in the red tie, looks rather strong and athletic. Does that help him in his work?
Yes, I would say it was.
At the same time, Miss Dorothy, I must add that Mr. Kratzky's size and obvious strength is not necessary to the work, because they all do it, and some of us, as you can see, are not as strongly endowed physically as Mr.
Frank
Kratzky.
Sinatra there on the left, doesn't he?
That's Mr. Rigby. I remembered him. All right. Now, you all do the same thing. Do you all do it in the same place?
All do it in the same place?
No.
No. That's 7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Does the work that you do require some kind of preliminary training on your parts?
No,
No.
None?
8 down and 2 to go, Miss Francis. It's instinctive.
When you work, do you work indoors?
Pardon me?
Do you work indoors?
Yes.
Now, I would add here, so that you're not misled, that in the instance of our 4 guests, they work indoors, but this is not absolutely necessary.
Oh, it could be done out of doors. Is there any equipment necessary in your job?
Yes, we could call it equipment, I guess, couldn't we? Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you carry people out. Do you have anything to do with keeping the peace in any way?
In a very broad sense, you might say yes, but I'm not going to. That's 9 down and 1 to go, Mr. Ustinov.
Oh, John.
I was sure of that.
Oh, you're
You have a
tough.
conference? Can we have a conference?
Yes, you may have 30
In the
seconds.
broadest
for
sense of the word.
Maybe they're bouncers.
No, they're not bouncers. That would be keeping the peace.
No, they're not.
But could they all be bartenders?
That's keeping the peace if ever there was.
It must have anything to do with liquor, food, or drink. That would give us a big way.
Yes, that would.
Unless you have a better idea.
I have an idea, but I doubt whether it's the right one, because I'm not really very experienced in this
Oh, yes, you
kind of
Tell us what
executive
it is,
work.
we'll rule on it.
The 30 seconds is done, Mr. Ustinov.
Oh, if I broke any rule, would I have anything to fear from you by a certain stretch of the imagination?
By any stretch of the imagination? Yes. If you broke any rule, would you have anything to fear by any stretch of the imagination?
Yes. Yes! Nothing to do with food and drink, I don't think. And you're nothing to do with the maintenance of... I'm right in assuming that you're nothing to do with the maintenance and law of order, because that has been
got a no
passed.
on that.
You got a no on that. Do you work for a ministry? What we'd call a ministry, but I don't mean a parish, I mean...
A ministry of government?
Yes.
That's 10 down and no more to go, and I want you to meet 4 of the nicest professional Santa Clauses you're ever going to meet. Oh, my. Mrs. Lockwood is here in New York with us at Andrew's Variety Store. Mr. Falcone is at Macy's. Mr. Rigsby is in Richards, is it, in Miami, Florida? Right. And Mr. Kratzky is in Strawbridge and Clothier in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, Roslyn area, right? And thank you for sticking the panel, and will you all go and say good night to them? It's nice to have had you with us. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest. The special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, for which I have to ask my friends on the panel once again to blindfold themselves. The blindfolds are all in place, panel?
Yes.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? In the case of our mystery challenger, we go to a different form of questioning. You will ask one question at a time in turn, moving clockwise. And we'll begin it all with Bennett, sir.
Am I correct in assuming that your name is no stranger to the pages of Variety?
I guess so.
Miss Francis?
Are you associated with the picture business?
Not anymore.
With the permission of our guest, I will amend the answer to this degree, that the association of our guest with pictures, motion pictures, is very definite and would be, I think, firmly so set in your minds. Mr. Ustinov.
There is a connection also with the theater, I presume.
Never.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is there a connection with television that is more immediate than your connection with the films?
Never television.
There is no direct relationship with television beyond the most fragmentary association which might come out of an appearance once in a long while. Mr. Cerf, that's 2 down and 8 to go.
Have you ever created a character that has become famous either on the pages of a book or possibly in a television show?
Pages of a book?
Yes.
Miss Francis?
I didn't hear the answer.
Yes.
Pages of a book? Yes.
Oh, thank you.
I have to clear up something. You say not anymore, but the dazzling applause that greeted your entrance must have been for your appearance in pictures at one time. Am I correct in that?
Well, I'm not Greta Garbo.
No, but actually, you're right, Arlene. That's what I was trying to say, is that the association with pictures is so pronounced as...
That's all.
If you were to be asked individually, you would say immediately that this is a major area of identification. Mr. Ustinov.
I thought I was going to get a question.
So you get a yes, then. Mm-hmm.
Are you American by birth?
Yes.
Miss Kilgallen?
When you appeared in motion pictures, did you wear long golden curls?
Never, never, never.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
I may be up the wild goose chase, but is the character that you created an amazingly attractive little girl named Eloise?
I can't dance as well as Kay Thompson, nor sing as well.
That makes it 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Have you ever been in the top 10 in box office draw?
There's the answer, Arlene.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
I think I
Mr.
know what it
Ustinov?
You do? Yes,
think
goodness.
Let me guess.
Yes, yes.
All right, Arlene, you have...
May I have one guess?
Yeah.
If I were to say to you, you're a steal, would I be right? Is it Miss Joan Crawford?
Yes.
You're just too smart with one eye, girl.
Arlene, Miss Jones said you were just too smart with one eye.
No, it was the voice more than anything else.
Ah. Yes,
Pretty
sir.
hard to disguise that, Miss
You
Crawford.
did sound
Isn't
like
it
Kay
That deep
Kay
voice.
Thompson.
Yeah.
I wish I had her talent.
You got
For
talent.
Eloise.
You got
You
plenty of
have
talent.
2 wonderfully
Oh, I got
talented
4
people.
Eloises. Don't be silly.
That's right, of your own. That's true.
Now, I'm going to be perfectly frank. Actually, Miss Joan Crawford does not appear on television. She hasn't heretofore been on a live television show, and she's here tonight because of something that's very close to her heart. It's called the International Adoption Agency, WAIF, are the initials. And she's here because of her interest in WAIF and because there's going to be a big party for WAIF on Wednesday night, I believe. Is there not in New York?
That's right, John.
And I think, Arlene, you're going, and I believe Dorothy is going to be there, too, on Wednesday
hope
night.
so.
And Jane Russell is the West Coast chairman, is she not? Now, what you have on Wednesday night is a benefit performance of Wild as the Wind.
With Anna Magnani.
With Anna Magnani. So for those folks who are in this area, if you will let us have a quiet little moment in New York, may I suggest that you all go and support a cause which Miss Crawford feels so strongly about that she breaks a rule and appears live on television to do it. We're very happy about that, and thank you very much for coming to join us.
Miss Crawford, ladies, may I ask you one question, Miss Crawford? Why did you say you weren't in movies anymore? Well, you're starring
I'm
in a
Mrs.
picture now.
Steele. Remember Arlene?
No, actually, what Miss Crawford, she is not making pictures presently, Bennett, which is why I qualified the answer so that you would be aware that there are pictures with Miss Crawford. There's one in New York right now,
one in
starting
New
at the
York right
Palace.
now, isn't
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, but I made that last year.
Oh, I see.
The story of Esther Costello.
You're worse than John Daly.
You didn't even know your own wife. Don't be silly. You're doing it.
Wonderful.
Stay tuned.
And now, Peter Ustinov, it's nice to have had you back with us again. Hope we'll see you soon. And until next week, this is John Daly saying good night, Arlene Francis.
Good night, John. Good night, Peter.
Good night, Darling.
Good night, Peter. Good night, Bennett.
I'm going to have a few words to say to one of the co-authors of the Family Fun book in a few minutes. Good night, John.
Imagine a man not knowing his own wife. Now, I asked you about that. Didn't that startle you? I do have one brief word from Uncle Sam, actually his postman. It's all put down very succinctly. Wrap securely, address plainly, include zone number, and separate your local from your out-of-town mail. And who can read straight anyway? So thanks very much for being with us on What's My Line?
If you'd like to be a contestant, send a picture we can keep and your occupation to What's My Line? CBS Television, 485 Madison Avenue, New York, 22, New York. Transportation for contestants on What's My Line is arranged by American Airlines. What's My Line is a Mark Goodson, Bill Codman production in association with the CBS Television Network. Be sure to see Remington Rand's two other great television shows, Leave It to Beaver on Friday nights and Gunsmoke on Saturday nights, all on CBS. Tomorrow night, it's